How your school year goes is ultimately up to you. Sure, there are outside forces that can press in and make it tougher to navigate, but if you want to ruin your school year, well, that's on you. Stick around, let's talk about it. Remember this little death trap? Nothing says friendship like locking arms with a buddy and doing your best to send someone to the hospital. If you've never played before, you create a lineup of 2 teams. Each team stands a distance apart from one another and locks arms as a team. Then you call someone from the opposing team to run through the chain of linked arms on your team. If they successfully break through your chain, they take a member of your team back with them to join their team. But if the chain holds up, the runner joins your team. So your goal when you're running is to find the weakest spot on the other person's team. And your goal in building the team is to have an unbreakable chain. So let's build an unbreakable Red Rover chain. Who are your top 5? Post it in the comments. I honestly could not decide, so I asked AI to give me the perfect Red Rover chain, and here's what she said. The Incredible Hulk, Superman, Elastigirl, which coincidentally I thought was a great suggestion that I wouldn't have thought of on my own, The Thing, and Thor. No one is breaking that chain. It's solid. No matter what's coming across the field, it's standing steady. Ruining your school year really isn't all that hard. One way is getting throat punched by the opposing Red Rover team. But another simple way to ruin your school year, and lots of us do this even on accident, is just not staying connected to the team. Now listen, teams can have their share of issues. You don't really go in knowing anyone on the team. Outside forces affect the strength of the team. Being on a team requires cooperation, and depending on what kind of team you're connecting to, a good bit of vulnerability and maybe some authenticity. And good teams just also take time and practice. School has just started. And for some of you, you've already been back for a month practicing with your team, your football team, your marching band, your theater troupe. They're all important teams. But you also need your Jesus team, friends. You need those folks who are pursuing their faith. And ruining your school year could easily be done by sacrificing that team for all the other teams in your life. So if you want to ruin your school year, don't commit to a Jesus team. Isolate yourself. Old Testament dude, Elijah. You can find his story in the book of 1 Kings. Let me summarize it for you. Elijah had been going through some hard stuff. He'd been fighting false prophets. He was preaching unpopular sermons. His faith was tiring. He was tired in his faith walk. We find him in chapter 19 choosing to isolate. Rather than digging into community when things were tough, he just hid under a rock, like legitimately. Well, actually, it was a bush. The rock comes in later, but I digress. Elijah was afraid, and he ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. Elijah was so alone, so frustrated, so at the end of his rope, so tired he just wanted to die. But God ignores his request. So an angel shows up and he shakes Elijah awake. He gives him some food. Side note, never underestimate the power of a good nap and a snack. And then the angel tells Elijah to pay attention to what God is about to say to him. So kind of a meeting before the meeting thing. When Elijah listens to the Lord, here's what the Lord tells him. Actually, no, I'm not falling into that trap. Read it in verse 15. Too many weird names in there to pronounce. The long and short of it is this. God tells Elijah to get up and pack where he was up and grab his 3 buddies. See, Elijah had been isolating. None of us are at our best when we're alone, but especially when we're alone and life is hard. So you want to run your school year? Just go it alone. Another way to blow your school year up in a hurry, be on the team, but don't actually depend on them for anything. Insulate yourself. For the record, just showing up at church on the regular does not constitute utilizing a Jesus team in your life. There has to be some vulnerability when you join a Jesus team. You have to let people help you. Let's take a look at Moses for a second. Moses is a pretty integral figure in the first 5 books of the Bible. Lots of stories include Moses and his faith life, the burning bush, the parting of the Red Sea, tons. So read the Old Testament, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Moses has been leading the Israelites through the desert on their escape from the Egyptians. While they're in the desert, they get attacked by the Amalekites. And so they've escaped Egypt, but now they're taking it on the chin in the middle of their escape from another Red Rover team intent on breaking some bones or their chain or whatever. The Amalekites came and they attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. Moses said to Joshua, "Choose some of our men and go out and fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hands." So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. So catch this. Moses has been traveling with his team. These folks, Joshua and a whole list of others, have been hanging with Moses for a while now. It's time to fight, and Moses sends his boy Joshua in to get the job done. He feels pretty good about it. That staff you mentioned, pretty impressive piece of gear that Moses was using there. And he'd been traveling with these folks for a while now. He was definitely adjacent to a Jesus team. Enough so that he thought he was fine in this fight. But we're about to find out, it's one thing to be around a Jesus team, it's a whole different thing to be on one. Then Moses' hands grew tired. They took a stone, they put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with a sword. You can show up at church, sit in on some kind of small group, even carry some spiritual gear into it, your Bible, your journal, for example. You might even serve in our church somewhere. Good for you. If you want to ruin your school year, just keep it at that level. That's exactly what Moses did. He was Jesus' team adjacent. It wasn't until he actually dropped some of his defenses and let people come in and assist him in that battle that the battle turned around. And remember, Moses had been trekking with these dudes for a while. He knew who they were, and he probably knew what they were capable of. He had his super awesome God staff in hand too, so I'm betting that he felt pretty set up for the win, but he wasn't. And if he hadn't leaned into his crew, it could have been a completely different story in that battle. Moses was on the team, but he wasn't depending on the team. Community can be hard work though, right? First, you have to be brave enough to surround yourself with other people, and then you have to trust those people not to hurt you, betray you, disappoint you. And all of us have been on teams where, like all humans, someone makes a mistake with our trust and they blow it. So if you want to ruin your school year, amputate. It's easy when we get hurt to just cut everything off. We cut ourselves off from people who hurt us, or we cut ourselves off from them. You've seen the memes, never let the same person hurt you twice. I mean, I understand the sentiment. Don't be a doormat. Stand up for yourself, create some boundaries. Those aren't bad things. But the notion that you never let someone hurt you twice just isn't biblical. Verse after verse after verse in Scripture talks about the importance of forgiveness, going the extra mile, being willing to get hurt for the sake of a deeper relationship with the team. Matthew 5:41 says, if someone forces you to go 1 mile, go 2. Forces you. We're not talking about a friendly jog. Someone's pushing the boundaries of friendship here. And it does not say anything about cut and run. And just before that, in Matthew 5:39, it says, if someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. In Matthew 18, verses 20 through 22, Peter is probably trying to get out of repairing some relationship here. Who knows? But here's what he asks and how Jesus answers. Peter came to Jesus and said, Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. It's not lost on me that it wasn't Peter's enemies that he was asking about. It was his Jesus team. It was his brothers and sisters. It was his church family, his connect group, his grow team. Running your school year is as simple as amputating anything painful from your life, especially relationally. Relationships hurt, they're gonna be painful, but they're also super necessary, important, and valuable. So here's a question. What are you most prone to doing when it comes to surrounding yourself with true community? Do you isolate? Lone wolf it? Stay to yourself because you got this? Do you insulate? You'll be community adjacent, but you won't allow yourself to ever be community dependent. Or are you most prone to amputate? Hurt me once, you're dead to me. What if all of us started just being more authentic, more open, more vulnerable, more connected, more offering of second chances? What if we made a commitment to truly be in it this year with some people? Get in a grow group, make connect group a priority, learn names, ask questions, build team. What if we became better forgivers, better confronters, better friends? What if we made a plan to be in real community on a real Jesus team this school year? Try it, I dare you, and let's find out together.
Hey, what's up friends? My name is Nick. So excited to have you join us for this video. And we just want to let you know that we are a local church in the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And if you're local to here and you're in 6th grade through 12th grade, we would love to invite you to come check us out Wednesday nights in person or Sunday mornings. But if you're not, or if you're just not ready to do that, we also want to let you know that we love interacting with you here online. So whether it's these long form videos or some of our YouTube shorts, or hang out with us over on TikTok or Instagram, we are hoping to provide inspirational, creative, fun, silly content every single day, ultimately all with the aim of helping you take meaningful next steps in your faith to Jesus. If there's any way and anything, any prayer that we can offer for you as a pastor, we would love to invite you to do that. Hit us up in the DMs or shoot us a message some way, somehow. Until next time, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching this video. We're excited to be with you.